seat, the popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Hello and welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here, hanging out with Thomas Manning. And before we started the show, we were struggling just being able to figure out how to say words properly. And so don't have high expectations for this show, because who knows what's going to happen this week for Meet Me at the Movies. Thomas, last week we did a summer sneak preview of films that people may want to check out. And we said, hey, that's going to be part one. So this is the sequel, Thomas. We're going to talk more summer films that may be on your radar, or our audience's radar.
Yeah, last week we had the sunglasses on because the future was so bright for maybe in the movies, but I think the future was a little bit too bright and we might have sustained some permanent damage. So that's why the shades are still on. We'll see if they come off at some point. So we'll just see if we get through this or not.
Oh, all right, man. All right. Well, I do appreciate the non-viewer mail that we had, and they have asked, could I continue to wear Hawaiian shirts throughout the summer? We'll see. I've got a few of them, so we'll see how many of them we can sustain over the course of the next few months as we look at summer box office and what's happening. Well, Thomas, I'll let you jump in, man. What's next on your list as we think about some summer films that should be on people's calendars?
Yeah, so let's talk about the film F1, directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Brad Pitt, and Kosinski from his work as the director of Top Gun Maverick, who he revitalized almost 40 years after the original, brought it back and made a sequel that I think surpassed the original in so many ways. I think Kosinski he's an incredible technical filmmaker, and he continually pushes the boundaries of what can be captured with practical effects. And I'm really excited to see that play out further in F1, which is about a Formula One race driver. And in addition to Brad Pitt, you got Carrie Condon. You may recognize her from the Banshees of Inisherin. I think she was Oscar nominated for that. Also Javier Bardem. I believe he is a friend of the show. I think we've had him on Meet Me in the Movies before. And this just looks to be one of those nice summer blockbusters that reaches an audience that I think a lot of people, a lot of that kind of middle age range, don't always have films like this for them in theaters at this point. Of course, in the 90s, that's all they had. But now I just don't think we get as many films like this anymore. And I'm really happy to see that. And it's with as much craft that looks to be behind this film. It's F1. As soon as it was announced a few years ago after the success of Maverick, this is one that's been on my radar, so I'm very excited to finally see it here, and that comes out June 27th.
Yeah, that's on my list as well. I tell you, we do get excited this time of year, Thomas, because it seems like every week there's something that's worthy of checking out. Now, whether it's going to be awesome or not, that's a whole different story, but definitely things that are worthy of checking out, even if it's just for the popcorn entertainment aspect of it. And one of those that you can find in your own home, if you subscribe to Apple TV Plus, is one that stars John Krasinski and Natalie Portman, and it's a Guy Ritchie film, and you and I just enjoy diving into Guy Ritchie films just for the chaos and mayhem that we get a chance to embrace when we're doing that. And the film is called Fountain of Youth, and if you are a fan of action adventure films that kind of take you back to the Indiana Jones or even Uncharted from a few years ago, which I really enjoyed. I think the title itself, Fountain of Youth, will say exactly what they are searching for in this particular film. And so that actually is already live on Apple TV Plus now. So that's an early watch for you this summer. Also, Stanley Tucci will show up in this, as well as quite a few other folks. And I encourage you, if you like action and adventure and you just want a escape film Fountain of Youth may be one of those you want to put on your radar.
Yeah, I feel like Guy Ritchie and Steven Soderbergh probably have the most consistent production schedule in working in movies today. It seems like every year they have at least one or two films that they churn out, and it's not just content that was just pieced together last minute. It's all really strong quality. I mean, some are better than others, but anytime Guy Ritchie's name's attached to something, I'm there and I end up having a good time. Last year we had The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and the World War II, almost like kind of like a Dirty Dozen type film, but this looks to be totally different era, totally different genre. Yeah, I'm excited, and I actually didn't even know this was live already. So thanks for pointing that out. I might know what I'm watching tonight then.
Absolutely. Well, Thomas, what else is on your radar, man?
Yeah, so I want to talk about another streaming film, this one from Netflix, The Old Guard 2. The Old Guard came out back, I think, in the middle of lockdown in 2020, starring Charlize Theron and Kiki Lane. And that first film was directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, who did phenomenal work with it. But in this film, directorial duties are going over to Victoria Mahoney, which I haven't seen much of her work prior, but I know she's done a lot of great work in TVs. Like, she's worked on Grey's Anatomy, Lovecraft Country, The Morning Show. But you do have basically the entire original cast returning for The Old Guard 2, with additional newcomers. You have Uma Thurman and Henry Golding. It's going to be really fun to see Uma Thurman back in an action film. It's been a while since we've seen that, but I think she's one of the most iconic, female action stars of all time. And you look at the first Old Guard, I think what I love so much about it was how accessible it was as an introduction to this vast universe that stretches back tens of thousands of years. But it doesn't overwhelm you with all the information it throws at you. It doesn't distract you from emotionally investing in the story and emotionally investing in the main character conflict with Charlize Theron's character, who, slight spoiler for the end of the first film, but she deals with the loss of her immortality in that film, and effectively she's now on her last life, that's going to be what is explored in the sequel. And also just the action in these movies, it's so visceral, and this group of immortal figures, they've been bouncing around as mercenaries for generations, and they've collected some pretty awesome hardware throughout the years, and so it's not every day that you get a modern action film with swords and battle axes and mid-century weapons like that taking place in a modern action setting. So there are many reasons to love the Old Guard film, so that I'm really excited about the sequel.
Yeah, and of course, if you see Uma Thurman with a sword and see her battling Charlize Theron, you're not going to help but think back to Kill Bill, and so I think we're going to be seeing something like that pop up for sure in this film. If we don't, we should.
Major missed opportunity if not.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. I love that original, and this is one I'm highly looking forward to as well. Well, one that has been around for a particular superhero franchise that's been around for a while and rebooted, and now it's getting another reboot. The Fantastic Four First Steps. This is being released in July 25th. Around the same time, Thomas, as the Real Film Festival. I think that's so you're going to have to do a double take. You maybe have to go to a matinee screening of Fantastic Four so you can check out everything going on at Reel to Reel. But this is the Fantastic Four, considered kind of Marvel's first family, and this iconic team is now part of the MCU, and it's interesting that it's set in a retro futuristic 1960s. So, we're still playing with the multiverse, which has just opened up so many different variations of what we can see in these films through the MCU. Some better than others, but it does open up. It really does open up the door, and so I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this. I mean, the cast is pretty strong. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm and the Human Torch. And you've also got who's starring as Ben Grimm, the Thing. What's that guy's name?
That's Eben Moss Backrack, which you know him from The Bear and from Andor. He has such a deep sadness to him in whatever role he's in.
Well, Thomas, ILM is overseeing the film's visual effects here, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen. This is kind of the family dynamics show up here. Responsibilities that come with great power. We've seen that before, and also, exploration of scientific discovery. We're going to be seeing how this film also connects to future Marvel films. I will say that they've found ways to continue to provide those threads throughout the MCU, and we've already kind of seen a teaser for this film out of the new Avengers film, Thunderbolts, right?
Yes, and from what I understand, the spoilers for Thunderbolts, but the end credit scene for that is actually seen directly from Avengers Doomsday, which is at basically the very end of the Fantastic Four film as they're merging with the current universe of the MCU, and they're coming over from their reality into this dimension. So I don't know if all of our viewers are going to track any of what I just said there, but we have gotten a little sneak peek tease of what's coming with the Fantastic Four, and I have fond memories of the Tim Story Fantastic Four films with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis. And I still have a soft spot for those, even though they're probably not going to hold a candle to what we have here. But I've always that was probably one of the first superhero films I ever saw in theaters with you, and I do have some fond recollections of the Marvel's first family.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I mean, you think about it in the past few years, the different variations of the Fantastic Four or members of the Fantastic Four that have shown up. We had Michael B. Jordan, showing up in a version that did not do so well as the Human Torch, and then we had John Krasinski, who I just mentioned as Mr. Fantastic, showing up in what was that film he was in?
Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange.
Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, and so it's these guys are no strangers, but this particular lineup definitely are strangers to viewers, and I think we're going to have a lot of people excited about this one for sure. Well, Thomas, we are at the intermission slot. We're going to take that quick intermission and come back with more on Meet Me at the Movies as we look at the summer films, the sequel, part 2, movies you may want to put on your calendar. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
A disaster like this is devastating. It's devastating for anyone, but when you're living paycheck to paycheck, something like this is really tragic. I was talking with some folks today who just had the concern about the electricity being out, and one of the primary concerns is how they basically lose all their food, everything that spoils, and so that's a big deal to a family that is just trying to make ends meet. So the folks here they're going through a lot, but we're with the Salvation Army, we're just happy that we can be there to give them a word of encouragement, provide a hot meal, do those, whatever little thing that we can do to make a difference. We're happy to be a part of that.
Hi, I'm Shara Miller, the host of Artworks. Each month we bring to you wonderful, talented artists from here in Cleveland County and the region. We have artists, we have potters, we have painters, we have musicians, we have actors. We just have wonderful artists that come to you and tell you about all that they're doing, their creativity, what inspires them. Join me here on Artworks each month on C19. You can also watch us online at c19.tv.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hey there! Welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here with Thomas Manning, and we are on the sequel end of the sequel show. So it's the second part of part 2. Meet Me at the Movies, summer preview, the sequel. Don't ask me to try to say that again because I don't think I could if you paid me. Thomas, we're rolling through these, man, and we could probably do a show every single week on other films coming up, but we want to get a few more of these in so people can put them on their calendars. Movies that they want to check out this summer. What else is on your list, man? Is there a new Paddington movie? There was like Paddington in Peru. Is there like Paddington and Kaiser? Is that what you're going to check out?
Oh, well, I don't think you're going to see Paddington Bear pop up in this film, although it might be a cousin of his, Eddington.
Eddington.
Yeah, this is from director Ari Aster, who makes a lot of very family-friendly films. Where I wouldn't be surprised if Paddington popped up in his little poncho and his little red hat. Like I can see him in Beau is Afraid or Midsommar or Hereditary or something. But no, Eddington, no relation to Paddington whatsoever. Don't take your family or your kids to see this film. So, Ari Aster, I wouldn't even consider myself a huge fan of his work. I liked certain aspects of Midsommar. I liked less aspects of Beau is Afraid. I mostly walked away from that film just frustrated and annoyed. However, I respect that he marches to the beat of his own drum and continues to tell the stories he wants to tell, and the fact that he's given the creative freedom to make so many movies, or to make the movies that he has up to this point in his career that not many directors have that kind of control. And I think the cast in this film, this might be the right pieces to connect with what I want from one of his films. Of course, you got Joaquin Phoenix back again, but the dynamics I'm really interested in this film are with the supporting cast of Pedro Pascal, Austin Butler, and Emma Stone, among others. And I think this looks to be the most grounded of Ari Aster's films so far, and it's going to explore paranoia in the digital age, also the poisonous toxic culture of social media, and specifically how all of this reached a tipping point with the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think this could be the definitive COVID film, especially based on some reactions I've heard. I think this just premiered at the Cannes Film Fest, and it's kind of a neo-Western horror film, and I just think this has the right puzzle pieces, and I think it's gonna work for me more than any of his films have previously. And you know what? If it doesn't, fool me 3 times, I don't know who's to blame for that. But I'm still going in with an open mind and an open heart, and we'll see what happens.
Well, it's awesome. Let's do that, man. I'm with you. I think there's kind of hit and miss with these films, and I'm intrigued as well. Well, you said that was probably not a family-friendly film. Well, I'm going to talk about one that should be family-friendly, and opening Memorial Day weekend. And if you're watching this after Memorial Day, then it's already out there. Lilo and Stitch, a remake, Thomas. This is the live-action remake. And we've seen a lot of live-action remakes of animated classics over the past decade plus, and some have been okay, some have been pretty horrible, and from my standpoint. But I remember when they started talking about what films, or they were asking what film would you as an audience like to see brought to life, literally with live action. And I was like, Lilo and Stitch would be fun, just from the CGI standpoint, just kind of where we are, and it's happening. And this is the original Thomas, 2002. It's hard to believe it's over 23 years old that original was released, about a lonely Hawaiian girl who was named Lilo, and she adopted this kind of dog-like, freaky alien named Stitch, who was genetically engineered to be a force of destruction, kind of like my son was genetically engineered to be a force of destruction. But what I loved about that film, and this one will carry the same theme, is it's not about the family you're born into, it's the family that you choose, and it is about creating community. And no matter what chaos surrounds you, you can be there for each other. You can find family. And cast in this, I mean, you've got Chris Sanders back as the voice of Stitch. You've got Zach Galifianakis as Dr. Jumba Jukapakaya, and Billy Magnuson as an agent as well, and Tia Carrere, Jason Scott Lee, Amy Hill, all back as well. Principal photography, of course, took place in Hawaii, and you're going to look for some great CGI here, ILM involved in that, Thomas. And that original movie, there were some great tribute songs for, calling out the Elvis Presley music and the renditions of those kind of Hawaiian themed tracks. You're going to find some of the same stuff here as well. So I think fans of the original may find that this one will kind of speak to them. And if you're just a family looking for kind of a heartfelt story that blends humor, action, and some emotion, maybe this will find a new audience as well, Thomas. Any thoughts on Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake?
Yeah, so I'll mention a couple trivia bits about the voice cast. So Zach Galifianakis, he is a North Carolinian himself from Wilkes County, just a couple hours up the mountain roads here from Cleveland County. Also, Billy Magnuson, he mentioned he is a Reel to Reel alumni. He had a film played last year at the Reel to Reel Film Festival called Sister, which we had a wonderful showing of that film, including with the writer and producer Meg Jenkins Locke. And so it's always great to see some Reel to Reel alums pop up on the big screen in various capacities. But overall, Lilo and Stitch, the animated feature, was one of my favorites growing up, and I think this certainly makes sense as a live action story to tell, and there's more spectacle that you can create and more scope and scale from a live action standpoint. So I might give this one a chance, although I can't remember the last time I saw a live action Disney remake. It's been a while.
It has. Well, Thomas, we have time for at least one more, and I'd love for you to kind of dive in on one more that might be on your radar.
All right, yeah, so I want to mention, this is a late summer film, August 22nd, we have Highest to Lowest. This is Spike Lee's upcoming feature, which is a remake of High to Low, which is not only one of my favorite Akira Kurosawa films, but really one of my favorite films of all time. And we've had recent success in Kurosawa remakes. A couple years ago, we had the film Living, starring Bill Nye, and you and I, that was one of our favorite films of, I think that was 2022. That was a remake of the film Akiru from almost 70 years ago. And with Spike, he is a true student of cinema, of world cinema, and I'm just ecstatic to see his take on this classic Kurosawa film that looks at the class divide. It's a crime thriller. It takes place in the modern era. It's his fifth collaboration with Denzel Washington, but it's actually their first time they worked together since 2006 with Inside Man. And so that's to see they're reuniting here. It's going to be something special. Also Jeffrey Wright, who he's one of our favorites, who's continued to get more and more work over the years. So Denzel, Jeffrey Wright, Spike Lee, all taking on Kurosawa material. I don't think you can go wrong there. When I first heard this, that Spike was going to be taking on one of my favorite Kurosawa pictures, it just felt like a match made in heaven, and I'm very excited here.
Well, I'm going to also, Thomas, just quickly want to mark my calendar for another late summer film from an August 15th film. It's a movie that blends intense action, probably some character depth, and a compelling narrative. Nobody 2 is poised, I think, to stand out in the late summer. And I'm looking forward to that one. I said August 15th for that. Yeah, I think it's going to be high octane. It's a return of Bob Odenkirk reprising his role from the 2021 action thriller that I think really just kind of surprised a lot of people. It flew under the radar. It was fun. It was different. It was intense, and it explored someone trying to get away from a previous life to only be kind of drawn back into it again. This particular sequel is actually co-written by one of the writers from John Wick, so it's got some love there as well. You're going to have the cast highlights from previous showing up, including Christopher Lloyd, Connie Nielsen, but also you're going to have Colin Hanks and Sharon Stone. Colin Hanks is a corrupt sheriff, and Sharon Stone is a crime boss. So you can expect some fun with that as well. And if you want to just have a lot of fun, look at the trailer, because it looks like Christmas Vacation gone wrong in a way that people end up dying, other than just a woman being attached to the roof. So it is going to be a pretty strong R rating, violence, language. So again, not suitable for the young kids. But if you're like Thomas and I, and you just want to dive into some crazy action and some wonderfully probably choreographed fight scenes, kind of like the John Wick series, I think you're going to find that here as well. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned Nobody 2.
Yeah, so what you're saying is this film was also genetically engineered for chaos and destruction, not unlike your son. So, of course, I'm going to have a good time with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Thomas, we've got time for just one more mention, not really any major details, but any other films you wanted to make sure you just mentioned.
Okay, horror film is called Weapons, coming out August 8th. And my main pitch to this, Monkey Paw Productions, Jordan Peele's production company, they lost the bidding war to this. And because they lost the bidding war, Jordan Peele proceeded to fire or at least part ways with his managers, because he saw something so special in this script and that he just hated that he couldn't have his name attached to it. So, Weapons, keep that on your radar.
All right, and Naked Gun, that's right. It's a sequel reboot, and that comes out in August. If you like parodies, one of my favorite parody series of all times goes back to The Naked Gun. This time, Seth MacFarlane is producing. It's really, if you like classic slapstick, this may be one that you'll be drawn to. And Liam Neeson shows up as a Lieutenant Frank Drebin Jr., who is the son of a bumbling detective, and Leslie Nielsen was that original. Also in this, you'll find Pamela Anderson co-starring, and so that will be in August. So we appreciate you guys spending time with us right here on Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II for Thomas Manning, and hope you enjoy your summer, and we're looking forward to what's ahead right here on C19 TV as we explore other films and other TV series that are going to be worth your time as we dive into the season. Till next time, that is a wrap.
We meet again next time we see you. We'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.